It's Trends O'Clock. This is Trends KE with KK Cedric.
Hello, how are you doing? It's yet another Thursday. We are here for the show. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and we are going to have a conversation here. As always, so much has been happening around politics, and recently we've decided to go with politics because that's the way, and we're going with what's trending at the time. So we shall be doing some politics for some time until the election time. And tonight we are getting into a conversation. I have guests who have always been on this show. You know them. Moses Tisa might be joining us a bit later on, but tonight I'm having here the lawyer and political commentator. I'm talking about Nelson Mandela over there joining the discussion. Thank you very much, as always, for honoring our invitation, Wakili.
Anytime, Cedric. I'm happy to be here.
You're welcome. And Tisa, I don't know if Tisa will be joining us. I really hope he makes it, but he said he will be traveling. So if he does that in time, we will be able to bring him on the show and continue with the discussion. And tonight we're talking about the 50 plus 1. Who are these 50 plus 1 that are going to make the fifth? We are heading into an election. It's just barely a month to the election day, and so much is happening. But first, Wakili, and there is a lot of talk recently around IBC. First, the whole issue of having a voter register, manual voter register, and you will tell us that the law is very clear. What is the law telling us, Wakili, this night about that issue?
Now, thank you, Cedric, for having me once again. It is always a pleasure coming to your show. Now, this conversation over manual register and IBC is not a new conversation, especially so coming from Raila Odinga. It started all the way, I think, 1992, as I wasn't around then. 2007, I was around. I didn't vote, but I was around, and I know there was a call for IE, Kenya Electoral Commissions, IEC or IBC. Then, before it was, it evolved to IEBC, and the call was Kivuitu must go in 2013.
Yeah, that was the ECK.
ECK, yes. And in 2013, Isaac Hassan must go. 2017, Chebukati must go. And 2022, we're being told something different. Now, let me tell you, Cedric, this is how it started. You remember, we all remember, after the handshake in 2018, we had the calls of political parties, major political parties, that is ODM and Jubilee, saying the Electoral Commission must be formed by political parties, that political parties must front people who will form the commission. And that when it was opposed, then it was proposed in the BBI. When BBI collapsed, there were calls of us pushing election for 60 more days to buy time. You know, these things are not new. If it's the same person, the same narrative nearing the election, and this only shows that there is a panic mode, because if there is confidence, the same IEBC, the same Wetangula that they're complaining about was Wetangula who was in CORD and NASA. What has changed? When did Wetangula become the system now? Because all of time we've been told that the system will help so and so win the election, but it is appearing Wetangula is the system. And therefore, this manual register thing, right? The world is evolving.
Yes.
The world is embracing technology. Even those who are calling for manual register in their own nomination, party primaries, they had all these schemes kit and they're trying to embrace technology. Why that sudden turnaround? It only shows there is a panic mode, which is so unfortunate, because if this is the trend, then someone is preparing not to accept the election result, and this country may be taken down to chaos.
But Wakili, someone would argue that there is always an error with the technology, and you never know. You can't trust it fully. So what happens if technology fails? That means there is no way out. There is no backup to it.
Now, IEBC said they'll have like 3 KIMS kits. One that will be at the polling center, the polling station, and 2 backup kits. So if one fails, there's an alternative, bring the other one. Still the same. In 2017, I was an agent in the general election. And what happened was that after being identified by the KIMS kit, after you voted, your name is crossed in the manual register. So the register will be there. So what these people don't want to tell us is that they don't want the KIMS kit. They want us to use the manual register for their own, I don't know for what motives, but what has always been there, the manual register is always at the polling center in 2013 and in 2017. So we fail to understand why the sudden turnaround and why the call, because the register will definitely be there.
Yes. Okay, enough with that about the manual register, and the IEBC might eventually, I haven't followed as per tonight, might eventually actually accept to have the manual register. But then still around the same conversation with IEBC, let's talk about the conversation with the candidates. And there was a ruling that the other candidates must also be considered because of the unfairness that might have been there the selection of candidates. And talking of them, I know you know about a common friend we have, Muthiora Karriara, whom we have had on this show. The other time he was left out and he ended up banning his voter's card. Do you think that the rest of the candidates should still be reconsidered and be added on the ballot paper? And do you think if they are considered, they would have any effect to the final poll?
Now, Cedric, first of all, Muthiora Karriara, Mheshimiwa
Yes.
has been our friend. We've appeared on your show together. The ruling that the independent candidate ought not to produce the IDs of the people who gave their signatures to endorse them, and they should be considered. We are all aware. Today, while in the office, I saw breaking news that IEBC received the first batch of the ballot papers. Now, what happens when half or the first batch has already been printed, and we know the cost implication of coming up with these materials? So what we know, it is a fact, Muthiora is my friend, but we know in this election, there are only 2 horses. Yeah. The rest were just there to be seen and not to be heard. And therefore, the ruling, like we say, the law must be progressive. The ruling can be, because I'm sure IEBC will appeal the decision, but the ruling will be that it may not apply in this election, but it should apply in the subsequent elections. So there is nothing much that that will bring. I saw Ekuru Okot, my senior, who has been my friend for long, is actually trying to push the gospel singer. This guy is equally trying to push, but we all know there will be have no effect on the ballot, because as it is right now, people have already made up their mind, right? So the ruling was good for future purposes, not in this election, because the cost implication, the time frame, we only have 32 days remaining to the election. You cannot say we're going now to start clearing people and having new president.
Yes.
When do they even intend to campaign, if at all they intend to win? So it is immaterial. The ruling is good, but it's progressive, and therefore it should apply in 2027 in the other election. But this election, we already have the horses and the 2 donkeys, which will disappear because the race has already taken shape.
I'm sure if Muthiora will be here on the show, he would not agree with you. But let's get into the whole conversation of 50+1, and you've referred to 2 horses. But I'm sure there are very many people who think otherwise. You have totally ignored Wajakoya. He might just be the flying the flying horse. I'm asking you this because there has been a conversation that Wajakoya is eating deep into the votes of the Deputy President William Ruto, and as UDA shouts "hustler," he's saying he wants to represent the sufferers, and there is talk that he is eating deep into the votes of Ruto. What's your take on that? Okay.
Wajakoya is good in this campaign for comic relief. there is nothing serious that will come out of him towards the election. He can excite the masses. Everybody will want to see who is this man talking boldly about things that don't make sense. So he's good to that extent. But when it comes to real numbers, Wajackoyah will not tip the scale. That is a fact, because even yesterday, there's something I shared when his manifesto was put to scale, and it came out clearly that most of the things he was talking about were fiction. And therefore, we cannot say, and you see, I've always said this issue because not just an ordinary person can wake up one day and decide to do presidential campaign across the country from their own pocket. So we have to go, even as you say that he's digging deep into the vote region of Hustler Nation, it clearly tries to imply that those who are behind Wajackoyah are people who are against the Hustler Nation. And therefore, he's being funded to cause confusion. Yes. But let me tell you, Kenyans are bright, Kenyans are brilliant. We know what is affecting us is 1, 2, 3, and the person who can help us get the solution is a particular person. And therefore, right now, there is no, let me tell you, Cedric, even as you see opinion posters and all these people saying there are quite a number of people undecided, as at now, in the country, there is nobody who is undecided as to who they'll vote in this election. And therefore, these 5% of Wajackoyah, and I don't know how many percent of who, is immaterial. I can tell you for a fact, Wajackoyah has no numbers, and Ruto's number remain intact, Baba's number remain intact. Whether they're going to clear the remaining 48 presidential aspirants who had previously submitted their papers to buy, there is no undecided voter. Every person will stick to their support base, and every person will get the numbers of the supporters on the ground. I can tell you for a fact, as it is right now, Wajackoyah was being endorsed by certain quarters to try and push a runoff, because in the event of a runoff, then people bring in money and coercion and cajole friends and political brokers to come in and try to check the numbers. That is the essence and the reason as to why I can tell you there is a person who is going to get a 50+1 votes in this country in this election, and there's going to be no runoff.
Wow. So, someone would say that's not entirely true because it's not factual. And Wajackoyah himself said otherwise. He said he is not being funded by anyone and he's in it to the end and into the poll.
Cedric, you see, I'm a lawyer, and we always say deny. Do you think Wajackoyah would come out clearly and say that I'm being funded? Yeah. Right now, there is an issue that this guy tried to vie for a parliamentary seat in the UK. You cannot vie in the UK when you are not a citizen. And therefore, if he ever was clear to vie in the UK and is currently vying in Kenya, the guy has dual citizenship. The law is very clear. You cannot contest, because in case he becomes president, which is unlikely, and there is conflict between Kenya and UK, which country will he side with? And therefore, in the next 30 days, we're going to unmask him. And that's why I told him he's a donkey that is going to be not even overtaken, because he's not even in the race. He'll just get tired and disappear from the race.
Wow. I wish he would be here to defend himself. But going forward with the whole conversation of 50+1, it's a fact that the deputy president started his campaigns long time ago, and his focus was mainly on the mountain. And he has, for the longest time, carried the mountain. But recently, after the announcement of the running mate for Azimio La Umoja and the many visits that she has made there, I'm talking about Martha Karua, and today you are there with Raila Odinga, and there were numbers seen in the rallies, unlike the numbers that would have been seen like, let me say, 3 or 4 months ago. Do you think that there is a likelihood of William Ruto losing base on the mountain?
Now, I don't know how you end up thinking that people who attend rallies can convert to votes. Yeah, because even if I went right now to Mount Kenya and mounted my speakers on my vehicle and started announcing something, that those will come to see Yeah. They say, like, if you take a monkey to a goat's auction, people will come not to buy, but just to see. Why would someone decide to bring a monkey in a goat's auction, right? So, and we also equally know the amount of state resources deployed towards marketing Mother Karua, right? So we cannot conclude that William Ruto has lost the mountain. When we talk about losing the mountain, what percentage are we talking about here? And what makes you think that William Ruto needs to retain the mountain 100% for him to become president? Look, Western Kenya, which used to be in NASA, is gone. Coast, which used to be in with the Raila in NASA, is the southern part of Coast is gone. The only region that Raila is controlling at the moment is Mombasa County. Kwale, Kilifi, they are gone. Eastern, when Kalonzo was indecisive, there are those who are hustler nation without having to be told where to go. Northeastern, we can talk differently. What Baba got in 2017 and what he's going to get right now, we can tell you Ruto has made inroads, right? Look at South Nyanza. Forget about the Nyanza region. Look at the South Nyanza, which entails Kisii, Nyamira. Ruto has made inroads. So when we are talking about William Ruto losing Mount Kenya, who said William Ruto depends on Mount Kenya to become president? That was a narrative before the selection of the deputy president. But I can tell you for a fact, in as much as media, you people have decided to market Mother Karua and ignore Rigathi, the fact remains that Mount Kenya region would prefer anything to Raila Odinga. And that's why they had to bring in the Mother Karua card. But the Mother Karua card, in the previous elections, Mother Karua has not been touched with people of Mount Kenya. She even lost her parliamentary seat, gubernatorial seat in Kirinyaga. What makes her different this time round? If she could not win a gubernatorial seat, what makes you think that she's going to win a presidential seat? Because essentially, people think Mount Kenya will vote for not Raila Odinga, but Mother Karua, which is not true. And therefore, I can tell you, Cedric,
yes,
with certainty, that when we are talking about William Ruto losing Mount Kenya, we should talk in terms of percentages. While we expect that he'll get 100%, all right? Initially, we were saying that Uhuru Kenyatta will join Baba in the campaign trail and they'll get the mountain. Uhuru Kenyatta is no longer there. We are now trying to force it that Mother Karua will make Raila president what Uhuru Kenyatta, the sitting president, has been unable to do. And therefore, these are fictional stories. These are creation of the media. But I can tell you with certainty, when we get to August 9th, all these things will be laid bare. Because in election, in campaign, is not just perception, it's votes. And therefore, people coming to rallies, and you see, and I know you are privy to this, right now we have state resources deployed to woo people. People are being called at night to organize for rallies and mobilize. And therefore, we cannot say because people were filled in the stadium, it means they'll vote for him. Ruto was in Nyanza the other day before he was torn at Kondele. How many people attended his rally? Why can't we conclude that Ruto made inroads in Nyanza? So these are serious things that you need to analyze clearly and see. Because what we've been talking about is regions. Because initially, you'll only downgrade Mudavadi for not being a regional kingpin when he's not in your camp. Over the years, we knew Raila Odinga was looking for Mudavadi and Wetangula because he knew they were controlling the Mulembe nation. He could look for Kalonzo. He knew Kalonzo controlled Eastern region. He could look for Joho and all these governors from the coast, knowing that they are the kingpin of those regions. But at the moment, we have Mudavadi and Wetangula in UDA, in Kenya Kwanza. But we are now trying to assume that they no longer control Western because they are not in the perceived rightful corner where they're boxed and being told where to go. So if we analyze
that's the question I was coming to. Yes, that's the question I was coming to. And about the politics in Western Kenya and Mudavadi and Wetangula, perception aside and camps aside, Mudavadi has run before. What amount of votes do you think Mudavadi controls in Western Kenya, given the votes that he has garnered before having run as president? And let's just say and be honest, Mudavadi and Raila head into Western at this moment, and they are both candidates or not or otherwise. Then we have William Ruto. So the votes, let me put it the question this way. The votes that Kenya Kwanza might get in Western, will it be entirely on Mudavadi and Wetangula, majority of the vote, or will that vote be pegged on the person of the deputy president?
Now, why would we go gauging the Mudavadi's influence in Western Kenya based on what he got in 2013 and not what he delivered to Raila in 2017? What has changed? Because if at the moment, if you are talking about Raila controlling Western Kenya, why couldn't people in Western Kenya be buying on ODM tickets, and yet they had to resort to form UDP and the DAPK? If at all Raila controls Western, why were people as Neo diehards leaving ODM and buying on UDP and DAPK? It's because on the ground, it's because clearly on the ground, after supporting Raila in 2007, supporting Raila in 2013, despite the fact that Mudavadi was on the ballot, and supporting Raila in 2017, we woke up to a fact that when Raila tested power in 2018 through the handshake, we knew his true colors. And that's why our people right now, you realize William Ruto is fielding candidates in Western Kenya with UDM. The Hustler movement. Mudavadi is fielding candidates with his ANC. Wetangula is fielding candidate Bungoma with his Ford Kenya. If Raila and Mudavadi are at par in Western Kenya, why is Raila fronting small parties to fight Mudavadi and not ODM? And these are the things we say. In as much as sponsored opinion polls will come and tell you that it's head-to-head, in as much as noisemakers like Atwoli will come and tell you that Raila Odinga controls Western, the truth will come out in August. And I can tell you, Cedric, being a member from that region and receiving a lot of information from that region and visiting my region almost every weekend and getting to interact with the voters, I can tell you for a fact, the people of Western Kenya are going to make independent decisions. And there is nobody at the moment you cannot say it is still in the same region, on the same corner we used to be in 2013, 2017. Because we realized there was no benefit by virtue of us being loyal to a particular person. It's the very person who was sponsored candidate to kill the people we respect as spokespersons. And therefore, in Western Kenya, there is nothing as head-to-head or at par. I can clearly tell you, people are behind Mudavadi, and behind Mudavadi, that means they'll vote for William Ruto. And this is a fact. They may be behind Mudavadi or behind William Ruto, but will end up having Kenya Kwanza affiliate parties. We don't have a problem even if my member of parliament from Hamisi comes from UDA, because One Kenya is an affiliate. Kenya Kwanza is an affiliate of political parties based on mutual trust. We believe that every person cleared to buy in Kenya Kwanza coalition, irrespective of the party, is equal to the task. Unlike in other regions where we are going to have zoning, for us we think democracy should prevail. And every person cleared to buy is competent enough. So you wait. This clip, you must keep it so that you can replay it on 12th of August. And I confirm to you, Kenya Kwanza will get 70% and above.
Wow. I can see every side is talking about 70% plus. But let me bring you into the whole conversation of what decides the side to which one votes. And we have talked about regions, we have talked about the mountain, and we've talked about Western Kenya. The last time we had this discussion some time back, and I asked the question that is there a youth vote in Kenya? And all the guys, including you, that I had on the panel said no. But several things have happened between then and now. And I'll still ask you the same question. And this will be with reference to the narrative that the DP Ruto has been running on of hustlers. Do you think there is a class of voters that could be formed or has been formed in Kenya, aside from the voting that has been done for the longest time about regions currently?
Now, Cedric, if you may remember in the subsequent registration, the reason why we have subsequent registration of voters in Kenya is because we want to attract people who attain the age of majority and are not registered voters. And from the data we received from IEBC, people between the ages of 18 and 28 were registering in their numbers. Yeah, unlike before. And because young people know what is at stake after this election, the youth of this country know what is at stake for the next 5 years. Look at the rate of unemployment. Look at the state of mental health in this country. Look at the state of people having papers, graduated for universities, but they don't have work. Look at the environment of doing business in Kenya. If you want to establish a company, you want to establish a company or an errand company, because I was helping a friend register an errands company in Nairobi, and is being asked to give 15,000. You are just registering a company so that you can be able to be going to office and supply people with pens. But you're being told, for you to first get these papers, you must give us 15,000. You don't have. And therefore, and there is a manifesto that is being read and you're being told that this is what you stand. There are charters and memorandums being signed by various political leaders saying that we commit, should we get power, this is what you're going to do for the youthful population of this country. And therefore, there is a youth vote in Kenya that is so woke to the extent that they know what they want and they know what they support and they know should they not vote what is at stake. Because I can tell you certainly, Cedric, where we are right now, unga retailing at 230 shillings. Everything, every price skyrocketing, and everything just going beyond affordability. The youth of this country know that this is a very dangerous situation, that it's only us who can take ourselves out. And therefore, I'm telling you this. The charter signed between whether Kenya Kwanza or Azimio with the youth can sit down and realize that this one sounds factual, this one sounds fictional. And therefore, there is a youth vote. Because we are to, and let me tell you, you cannot demonize wheelbarrow, and then 30 days to election, you're introducing kazi kwa vijana. Every time when I'm coming to town, I'm meeting people with spades and slashers going to look for kazi kwa vijana or kazi mtaani. That is not sustainable because these people are only paid on Thursday. After election, there'll be no these jobs. How do we empower these people? How do we make business environment friendly? How do we give them skills? And how do we make sure that the skills acquired from universities or TTIs or technical institutes, they are absorb the market? How do we make sure that we run away from the mentality that for you to get a good job, you must have papers and must go to the college and enrich your brains and be that elite and stuff, and not just these people using slashes. You empower them, make education affordable, tell them to go to technical institute, let them become electrical engineering, let them engineers, let them come do wirings in our houses, let them be plumbers. Because Cedric, somebody said right now you can be in an estate, you're looking for a plumber, you cannot find because people think they all need to work in offices. And that is what is at stake in this election. People know we have papers, people know we have skills, but you don't have the opportunity to harness our skills, to harness our energy and make a living. And that's why the youth of this country have decided, having read the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, there is something for every one of us. And we were party to that manifesto. I can confirm to you, the youthful population of this country were party to drafting the manifesto, to the extent that we had to say there shall be nothing for us without us. We must put in our input. They must ask us what we want for ourselves. We must contribute. And therefore, when it is drafted, we can easily associate with it saying, this is what we suggested. And therefore, this election, there's going to be a youth vote. And in the next government, we are going to have the youth calling the shot.
Okay. So thank you, Akili. Let me read some of the comments from those who are watching, and we have tuned in from Kakamega. Hope Wakili won't be too much emotional. Wakili leo amecheza chini, hakuja kuwa na mtu wa kelele nyingi kabisa leo. That's Christine, my sister, is tuned in. Who else? We have Stephen Karanja tuned in from Nairobi. Thank you very much, Steve, for tuning into the discussion tonight. George, we have George Dice Okari is tuned in from India. Great show. Thank you very much for tuning into the show all the way from India. We have, who else is tuned in from Nairobi? Alex Onsase is saying, why does KK not trusting the manual balloting tool? Okay, I don't know if you got that question about trusting manual voting. And JK anasema, Wakili, is Wajakoya playing or surely will make the two horses miss the 50+1? You've talked about that. I thought there were 3 horses. Yeah, Christian.
You remember how Dida made headline after the presidential election? We all remember how Peter Kenneth was winning election on Twitter. Polls carried on out on Twitter and all Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. Peter Kenneth was always leading. But there is always that one particular individual in every election that brings in what Wajakoya is bringing, the excitement. But when we get to the ballot, people come back, they say, no, we're not to be laughing about marijuana, because not even your son, Cedric, wherever you are, you'll want your son to know that marijuana is something that a professor will be campaigning about. Yeah, not everyone will want to say that we can extract the testicles of hyena and export. There are more important things we can do as a nation, even if you are poor. Not to just tell people that you can. We know the effect, Cedric. We know the effects of marijuana to the people. Sometimes you meet in the Eastern and in the street, right? And therefore, this excitement will lapse. In the next 2-3 weeks, nobody will be talking about Wajakoya because people will get down to serious business. It will no longer be a laughing matter.
Thank you very much, Wakili. And those are the comments we have from those who are watching. Let's get into your final remarks, Wakili. It's unfortunate that Moses Tisa could not make it. He told me he was traveling to Nairobi, so maybe he hasn't arrived yet. And we shall be sure to invite him another time when we do the same show. On your final remarks, Wakili, 50+1, this is what everyone who is running, the 4 candidates, actually we have discussed entirely and we have forgotten that there is a 4th candidate in the name of Waihiga. Is he called Waihiga? Yeah, a 4th candidate, and all the 4 are looking for votes. They want to get the 50+1 and become the 5th. What is the metrics here? What do you think? Where do you think that these people should focus on first at the electorate, the areas or regions per se? Where do you think that they should focus currently to get to the +1 vote? And also, what exactly should be addressed? What do you think that if someone addresses right now, it would interest the masses and make sure that one gets the 50+1?
Thank you, Cedric. Now, you see, the good thing is that even today in the office, somebody was telling me, nobody can believe that we are 30 days to the next election. And in the next 30 days, we'll have a new president. Because the environment doesn't look like, the excitement is no longer there. But I can tell you, this is as a result of this election being issue-based. Not propaganda, not insults. We've tried to make it issue-based as much as we could. And that's why you cannot see people fighting and people giving handouts out downstairs here and people branding each other's name, because this election, the agenda has shifted from my tribe, my people, my region to us as a country, our economy, education, healthcare, infrastructure. And therefore, we cannot be talking about where to focus right now to get 50+1. Whoever wants to get 50+1 already has it, right? Because this election, people were woken up, and from the onset, you said William Ruto has been campaigning for the longest. That could be true. That could be true. But you see, the main protagonist, who is Raila Odinga, was told to relax because When Uhuru came out and said, huyu kijana tangatanga atulie, nitampea madaraka, Raila thought, okay, what William Ruto has not done, let me do. You can see right now he's struggling to catch up. Yeah, because you have to fix your eyes on the prize. When William Ruto introduced bottom up, that other coalition tried to talk about top bottom, and then it flopped. And then they came, said Hustler versus Dynasty, it flopped. They came and tagged other people, I don't know, Wezi and stuff, it flopped. So in this election, we tried as much as we could to take it away from the insult, from tribe, from my region, from my people, to we as a country, our infrastructure, our healthcare, our education. And therefore, there is no new matrix, there's no new formula that one can use right to get 50 plus 1. Whoever was to get 50 plus 1 already has it. And whoever was to lose, like Wajakoya, Kina Maure, and all these other people chasing shadows and splitting wind and hot air, they've lost it. So this race is between two people, Raila Odinga and William Ruto. We are trying to make it as much as possible to be issue-based. William Ruto is very clear with bottom-up. And then this other camp, when they could no longer sell up-bottom, they introduced Mother Karua, Mama Nakazi, Mama Nanini, and we say, in this election, as a country, choose your candidate. Cedric, I cannot come and force you to vote for my candidate. What we do, we respect the democratic space. Let whoever will win. I'll vote for William Ruto, who is my candidate. Another person will vote for Raila Odinga, like Tisa, who is their candidate. But ultimately, we are going to have a president of the Republic of Kenya. Not what we've had in Uhuru Kenyatta being the president of Central Region of Kenya. Because every time there is an issue, he calls people at Sagana. In Vihiga and Western Kenya, you don't have a state lord. Did we have a president? Could we get roads and people getting Tumbukiza and 5,000 per diem for attending a state lodge meeting? Because Uhuru Kenyatta failed as a president. Because we campaigned on the basis of Kalenjin, Kikuyu versus the rest of Kenya. So when they formed a government, it was a government of Kikuyu and Kalenjin. And then when they failed to remain to be a government of Kikuyus. And that's why every time there was an issue, Uhuru will call my people. Yet he was voted as the president of Kenya. And that's why he said, Cedric, we no longer talk about regional kingpins. We want people to make inroads. Raila Odinga should go to Central Kenya the way he was there today, get his votes from there. So that if he manages to become president, he'll serve both those who voted for him 99% in Nyanza region and 10% who voted for him in Central region and 15% who voted for him in Nairobi. Not for him to come and say, now because Mother Karua is my running mate and I'm the president from Nyanza, I'll be hosting all our in-house meetings in Nyanza region and discussing in my vernacular. That was a failure from the part of the president, and that is what we are moving away from in this election. And therefore, what I urge Kenyans, I urge the youthful population of this country, who are the majority, who are the people who wake up in the morning, vuvuzelas, to vote for their candidates. First, let's embrace peace. Let's vote for our candidates. Ultimately, one person will win, one person will be sworn in, and will cooperate. Because, like I said, we've tried to make this election about issues. When there is healthcare in Vihiga County and I fall sick, I don't have to have voted for Kenya Kwanza for me to go to Mbale Hospital when it will have the equipment. I don't have to be have supported Raila Odinga so that I can get quality education for my sons. I want to know this is a democratic space. Every person is selling their issue. Every person has their agenda. When elected, we should come together as a country and tell them, you have been voted. This is what we thought about the other candidate, but now it's you that we have. This is what we want you to do for us. And the Kenya will move forward as a one indivisive nation.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Wakili. Unfortunately, Tisa hasn't turned up yet. We shall be in communication so that we have him on the next episode. We'll have about politics. Thank you for always accepting our invitation, and I hope that next time we call on you, you shall avail yourself as well.
But Tisa, one message I have for Tisa is the world is evolving. Now this is the problem of his team calling for manual register. Right now, you can even do interview in a matatu. I don't know why he'll fail to show up unless he uses free Wi-Fi. Next time, he should up his game and realize the world is moving. He can even attend this interview. I'm still in the office. I was to go to the house, take a shower, change, but I said, let me finish what I'm doing, and then I joined right away, and then I can go to my house later. The world is evolving. They should move away from this They should move away from this manual register mentality. This thing can be done from anywhere. Even Don is in
Asante
India.
sana Wakili.
Don is directing this show from India. What is Homa Bay?
Thank you. I'll make sure to pass the message to Tisa, unless he's watching right now. I'm not sure. Thank you very much, and thanks.
I'm sure he's following. He's afraid of me, but he's following. I'm certain. He has had the message. You don't have to pass the second time.
Thank you a lot for everybody who is watching this show, and I will be seeing you next week, same time, with a different conversation. Good night, depending on wherever you're watching us from. See you next week.